Everybody ready to go? Okay. Good afternoon. Good to be here with you today. Thank you for showing up. This is a tremendous case, and I say that because the investigators that worked this case, there's no doubt in my mind they have stopped a mass shooting that was going to happen. This guy was ready to go, had all the equipment, had the propensity to do it. It's just a matter of what day was going to set him off to go do it. So it's no doubt in my mind saved a lot of lives at one point in time. So I'm going to let Captain Foley, is the head of the unit, walk you through this. We have a representative from the FBI up here also. And after that, I'll finish it up, and then we'll take some questions. Cap?
Thanks, Sheriff. Good afternoon, everyone. Glad you could be here. My name is Captain Randy Foley, F-O-L-E-Y, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. We're here with our representative of FBI, ASAC McCormick, during a joint investigation. So today I'll be addressing the arrest and ongoing investigation into Damian Allen, a Loxahatchee resident and Palm Beach County resident connected in serious criminal offenses, including threats of mass violence and impersonating a law enforcement officer. So a basic case overview is PBSO and received information from the FBI, which they had an open guardian tip related to another case that we're not involved in. The tip was involved in Damian Allen, which is currently residing in Palm Beach County. PBSO and FBI obtained the information that Allen may have been planning an attack and engaged in threatening communications online to commit mass violence. So some of the information we have on this is that there were online communications with other individuals who discussed carrying out mass violence, not just here in Florida and Palm Beach County, but in the nation. Allen expressed support of radically and ethically motivated violent extremism and threats of mass violence, to include identifying several places, I believe it was 7, that he would like to strike. This included a police department, and in other conversations, people who was online were to discuss churches. The use of guerrilla warfare and tactics and ambushing to carry out the mass violence attacks. The joint investigation between the FBI and us revealed that there was chats and videos showing Allen discussing the use of body armor, steel plates, tactical gear, grenades, and multiple firearms, which we'll get down to in a couple minutes. His main desire was to harm law enforcement and attack a law enforcement facility. It appears that he has a philosophy of violence against civilians and law enforcement equally, but specifically spoke about law enforcement organizations to strike. Some of the information related to impersonating a police officer that was very concerning to us. He posted several videos of him wearing a full PBSO uniform, which is very similar to what myself and the sheriff are wearing today. It included a badge, a name tag with his name on it, and all the equipment that is issued through to PBSO officers. It was a Class B uniform, which is a less dressier one, the short sleeve version, but he had 2 or 3 of those uniforms, which at that time we're still looking to how those were obtained. He had a gun belt, a taser, a radio, and other police equipment, including a fake body cam video to make it more realistic. He showed himself operating a vehicle that resembled a law enforcement car. I believe it was a Crown Vic, if I'm not mistaken. And he added a police package, a laptop stand, and a police computer in there, and it was operational, and he would take videos of him standing in it and sitting in it. Allen was all over social media, and some of the information that we received on what his intent was to commit mass violence was on several of the different social media platforms, including Instagram and Discord. We worked closely with the FBI and the State Attorney's Office to obtain arrest warrants and a search warrant for his residence in Loxahatchee, Florida. He was charged with written threats to kill and do bodily harm, an unlawful use of a two-way offense, a two-way radio, and an unlawful use of a badge of authority. So he has 2 felony charges and 1 misdemeanor charge, and we are still looking further in the investigation to what else comes from the evidence obtained. A search warrant was executed at his house in Loxahatchee yesterday afternoon, and it was for all electronic devices that he had access to, police uniforms and equipment, firearms, ammunition, magazines, grenades, flashbangs, and related receipts. Some of the things that were recovered were 18 real firearms, 1 taser, electronic tasing device, over 300 pounds of ammunition, or 12, more specifically, over 12,000 rounds of ammunition inside the house, which you can see in that picture right over there. 15 airsoft guns, a two-way radio, a law enforcement issued MDT or police laptop, multiple uniforms to include not only law enforcement, but we found military also. He had a FBI uniform, he had an Army Ranger uniform, and he had a set of Marine Corps dress blues. He had a ballistic vest, ballistic helmets, and law enforcement federal credentials, active duty Army credentials, FBI credentials, and PBSO badges. He had a gun belt, as I mentioned, a police car before, and he 3D printed a body camera. He also, with the two concerning things, was the self-made Army training certificate. So he actually took the time to make a self-certificate that he was an Army Ranger. And he had insignia that you can see in one of these pictures here of the Nazi insignias. So that was what was recovered in yesterday's search warrant. So we still have a lot of evidence to shift through. And I'm going to turn this back over to Sheriff Bradshaw.
Thank you, Cap. I hope you all are taking some pictures of this. This is disturbing that somebody can get these type of items off the internet. It baffles me, to be honest with you. But this is a dangerous, dangerous individual. Can you imagine the damage he would have done with 12,000 rounds of ammunition and fully automatic ARs? Unquestionably, this is one of the best arrests that I've seen in a long time that has prevented people from dying, because I guarantee you he was going to do that. The Behavioral Services Unit has done a tremendous job here. This is what they were put together for many years ago. It's not only this case, they've done other cases, but this right here just shows you the capabilities when they're working with other places of what they can do. But another takeaway here that's important is the community, people in the community know things. They know what's going on. They know people that are talking about doing bad things, or they see it in the chat rooms. And this is what will give us that little start, that little piece of the puzzle to go forward. Because in the FBI study of all the mass shootings, there was two things that always stood out. Number one, there was some mental health issues. Now, everybody that's got mental health issues is not dangerous, but that was one of the things involved. But the second thing was somebody had some information ahead of time on what was going to happen or the possibility it could. How many times have you seen it? Somebody says, well, I knew that was going to happen. Well, who'd you tell? And you don't have to give your name. This could be anonymous. So I hope that the public that's watching these things can say, you know what? I'm not comfortable with what's going on. I've heard these things. You know, this person to me looks like they're dangerous. And just let us start looking at it. That's all we're asking for. All right, we're going to take some questions. I'll get the captain back up here because he's going to be able to answer most of them. So, Cap?
Yes, sir. Do we have any questions?
What is your reaction that he was having a conversation for weeks or months with this young lady in Wisconsin who did carry out a mass shooting?
I don't have the details of the case of Wisconsin. That's an FBI case. So I did hear the same thing you did, and it's obviously very concerning that this is a topic that's happening across state lines on a country level. So it is very concerning, and we're looking into what else could be attached to this.
Did he have fully automatic weapons? The sheriff mentioned that.
We believe they are. Those are being confirmed right now. He did have assault rifles and the handguns. We are confirming that they are actually fully auto with our weapons department without making that statement.
Captain, when did he come to your attention? When did you get the first tip?
Our division actually was working with our intel division for about 4 or 5 weeks now. The change was we did get some extra evidence or a lead in the case on Thursday, which prompted us to expedite and the search warrants because of the information we got on that day, on Thursday, I believe it's the 24th or 25th, allowed us to get the search warrants and arrest warrants to proceed on this investigation.
Was that some sort of tip that indicated an imminent attack?
It was related to a Guardian tip from the FBI, yes.
That an attack could be in the making?
Those details weren't shared with us. It was the fact that there was a concern that this individual was making statements online, but we don't have the whole side of that side. That is with ASAC McCormick would have to answer that question.
Do you have any indication that he was intending to
No, sir.
I was going through his social media, and there's videos of him in these uniforms dating back to 2022, 2023. I know you said you're still working to figure out how he got his hands on at least 3 uniforms. What's the process to try and find where he got these authentic uniforms from?
Well, luckily, between the Sheriff's Office and the FBI, we have an extensive intel department that will use our cyber crimes unit and our intelligence unit to go through looking at bank records, see how it's bought, whether it's mailed, work with the ATF. There's records of it somewhere. There's nothing that you buy now that's not tracked some way, and we will track it down.
Did he legally own all these guns?
We're still trying to determine that.
How long would it take him to get that many guns and 12,000 rounds of ammunition?
Depends how much money you have, sir.
Were his parents financing that?
Not to our knowledge.
Was he living alone, or was he living with them?
He was living with their family, with his family.
You said you think he was, going to carry out a threat. How soon do you anticipate he might have done that?
Well, the thing about threats, which is hard to determine, being on the pathway of violence, he was very far ahead on it. He had planned, he had done all his necessary steps to carry it out. He was just waiting for the proper trigger, we believe, to do it, and we cannot give an accurate answer to his mindset until he lets us know that.
What were the 7 locations that he had, the 7 targets that he was looking at?
The only 2 that I remember off the top of my head was a church and police buildings, but the other ones were racially motivated.
Has he been cooperative with you all at all? Said anything?
He is being cooperative to a point. He was very talkative and did not request a lawyer at that time. We're hoping he stays cooperative and we can learn further how to prevent these situations in the future.
Is he going to face any federal charges?
We are definitely looking into federal charges. The firearms may be an issue with there, and I believe FBI we're having a discussion on what options they have to move forward with this.
Does he have a prior arrest record?
No, sir.
Okay, thanks, folks.
Excuse me, can Special Agent McCormick answer any questions?
As we have an ongoing investigation, I can't provide any comment.
Did you say anything as to this tip that alerted the PBSO that they needed to jump into action this week?
No, Mr. Foley's provided all the details. Thank you.
I do have one question. I know that these messages date back to the Wisconsin shooter back in May of last year, around that time. Why did it take so long from May to now to zero in on this guy?
I'm sorry, I can't provide any additional comment to that.
Sheriff, could you elaborate again what you said?
I can't hear you. I'll step up
Could
here.
you elaborate again what you said at the very beginning when you said there's no doubt in your mind he was going to carry this out? Can you just,
Well, common sense will tell you that, Al. You don't think anybody masses all this together, talks about mass shootings and what they want to do because it's like a hobby? There's no doubt in my mind what he was going to do. It just depends on what day it was that triggered him. All right, thanks, folks. Good job, man.
I'm gonna grab these papers.
Yeah,
Are you all right?
yeah. Fine. Oh, the mic's still on.
Good job, Ray.